Now I need to get the symbol for this part. Again, the way it's going to look physically. I'm really lazy, so I don't even want to draw a box. So I went over, I found a rectangle that had some lines on it, thought that looks reasonable. Let's grab that. So again, I right click on it, copy to the library. That comes up for me. That's going to be saved under the name that it had originally. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to copy this and create a new part. So I want to get the whole thing, so I'll use this again to define a region. I'll just take that whole area, go to copy. I'll right click in here that says copy group. Now I've got my copy of it. But I want to come here under symbols, because it is a symbol. I want to make a new symbol. This is going to be specific to my device, so I'll give it the name of the part I'm making, which is a PIC24F16KM202. I'll go ahead and create that. It says, do I want to make a new one? Yes. There's nothing there, but I can choose paste. And then notice I want to kind of center this. This is where I've located my parts. I put that down. I have this copy. I can save it. Then if I go back over to my table of contents, notice I have two symbols. I have this original one that I copied that I don't really need anymore. It was just a starting point. So I'll remove that. And then I've got this. This does not look, this is not the finished part that I want to have, but it's a starting place that I can work from. So now let's go and edit this part so I turn it into what I really want it to look like. First thing I realize is that I've got 18 pins on this, and I have a 28 pin device, so it means this is going to have to be bigger. So I can just take and I can move some of these lines, give myself a little bit more room. Probably also want to make this wider. So I'll just turn my rectangle into a bigger rectangle. Not exactly a difficult thing to do. Making this bigger, put my name and my value attributes somewhere inside. I don't particularly want that there. I'm not sure where I want them right now. So I can again just move those. Sometimes these are hard things to find, but if you take a look, remember again there's a little X here that's showing you where the origin is for a particular item. And so if I click on that, that's what gives me the ability to access that. It's not on anywhere on the name. It's on that little anchor point, so it allows me to drag those and put them out. I'm going to now go ahead and just move some things around. I'll show you where I end up. Let me just jump in process here and show you what I'm doing, moving some of this stuff around. Again, I'm just grabbing pins with my move, putting them up into place. Where I want more of these, where I said I had a 28 pin device, over here you can see I made 14 pins. I can just go to copy, grab a pin, put another one in, put another one in, put another one in. This is probably what a lot of you would do, and then I can just delete these two if they're not particularly the ones that I want. I don't have anything that's inverted. And the inclination that most people have when they're starting off is saying if it's a 28 pin device, that if it's got 28 pins and it's a rectangle physically, then the symbol should be 28 pins rectangle, and this should be pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not at all helpful for a schematic. With a schematic, you want things grouped so that things that belong together are laid out together as a symbol. For an example, on this particular part, there are two parts that are going to be connected to power, which are these two up here. So I want to keep these two together regardless of whether they're the same pin. VDD pins, I want to have both of them up there together. So I'll just come along, I'll change this name. I'll make this VDD because that's what the power is called on this. And I come down, this one also is going to be VDD. And when I try to do that, it comes along and says VDD already exists. Well, I know it exists. I want to have two VDD pins on my device, but I can't have two. What you want to do, if you want to use the same name, at least you want it to look like the same name on your page. If I put VDD and I say @1 and I call it that, then I can call this one VDD, use the @2. Those are two different names, but it will turn out when it shows up on my schematic, I'll just see the VDD part of it. Similarly, I've got two grounds. So I can take this one and I can give it a name of ground, but now that I've been alerted to the fact that I can't copy those two, I'll be a little smarter right off the bat. And I'll call this one ground 2. And then I want those a little bit separated, so I'll go ahead and drag these down to the bottom. Put that down there, put that over there. I'll show you one more piece of this and then I'll fill it all in and see the end. There are times on devices like this where a particular pin has more than one use. So this particular one, let me just say, if I'm talking about, sorry, I'm not moving that anymore. If I'm talking about its name, this thing has a digital to analog converter. It has more than one, so that's the first one. This pin can either be used as the reference, the positive reference for that, or it has another option. It can be what's known as a port pin, A0, or it could also be an analog to digital converter and using the 0 channel. All three of those are options. If I want to have options, I can just put that slash in there. The name gets longer, so it tells me, okay, I'm probably going to want to make this device wider, but I've got all of the options laid out there. So here's my finished symbol. Notice I have power together, I have ground together. Things that have to do with the digital to analog converter I decided to put together. Oscillator pins I put together. These have to do with programming. I've grouped things by their function, not by where they are arranged physically. I decided to put the value, which is going to be the PIC24 F16 here in the middle. The name, which is just going to say this is Unit 1. It's just like R1, R2. I decided to leave that on the outside, and I made it a little bit wider. So I have my finished symbol. I've got that saved. If I look back here now, I see I've got the symbol that I want for this part, and I've got the footprint for that part, but so far I have no device. All I have are the building blocks for that device.